This Wednesday.
There is a town hall coming up
at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
with you-know-who.
CNN will host an hour-long town hall with, wait for it, Donald Trump.
Which centers on the guy who tried to kill American democracy.
The American people, the greatest people on earth, we love them all.
The transformation of CNN into a journalistic whorehouse is now complete.
Wrong.
Trump going to CNN. Do you think it is wrong for CNN to have him on?
Why? Why would it be wrong?
Network President Chris Licht not only hands Trump a free hour of live propaganda dressed up as a town hall.
I find it very hard to defend the choice to give him a live platform, no matter how it is dressed up.
He's running for president. He's ahead in all the Republican polls. Why wouldn't you have him on?
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. CNN's Presidential Town Hall and the Crowder livestream. Guests and drinking game rules to follow.
Sabes, creciendo como un chino culicagado en el país todo perivo, asolado por la guerra civil de Colombia. No tenía acceso a jarros sanitarios o modernos. Solo tenía un carnal en el radio que era una gonorrea. Por eso estoy tan agradecido a Mug Club. No solo me dan este jarro con agua fuerte, pero más importante, tengo acceso a todos los shows diarios de Louder with Crowder. ¡Por otra olla de café! ¡Vamos con mi banda! ¡Nunca moriremos! ¡Mug Club por siempre, hijo de putas!
All right, the sip is back. I'm glad to be with you. And really quickly, tomorrow, there is no show in the morning because we will be live streaming the presidential town hall, live streaming the live stream from CNN. So theirs starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. Ours starts half an hour beforehand to kind of give you some context to pregame. There will be drinking game rules. There will be guests. Yeah. There will be a promo code. All of the rules to follow. And we'll be fact-checking the fact-checkers because me thinks there's probably going to be some leading questions. So that's tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern.
Are you a fan of sedition?
Yes. Yes. I will also get to the deposition of Donald, some new footage that's hilarious. So much to talk about today. Look, yesterday was a little bit heavy. Today's going to be a fun show.
Yeah.
We also have some information that's I should say, curious regarding the Allen shooter. We have more information now, and the more information that comes out, the more you don't believe said information because the purveyors of information are CIA plants. Wow. I kind of just gave away.
Spoiled the segment.
Sorry. But there's more to it than that.
Potentially.
We'll also be discussing some recent polls. Look, people have been talking about the polls. Polls don't necessarily mean a whole lot, but the trend is kind of surprising. And here's the thing. Both Donald Trump and DeSantis in the recent ABC WAPO poll would beat Biden. The reason why, those sub-polls are kind of what tell you the most important part of the story. And there's a real silver lining. Look, what you are doing is working. Every culture first, right? Everything is downstream or upstream. I never really know the term.
Downstream.
Downstream from, but then some people say it's upstream because it would be flowing.
But you can't pee upstream. Well, simple logic.
I don't know. I have no idea. I think you can. The key is to arc. So
you can if you're black.
Yeah. Stop it. That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. The size wouldn't affect the direction. That's just geometry. It's not about girth. Although girth is also geometry. And the point is, I haven't done trigonometry since, I don't know when. I don't think I've ever done trigonometry. Now, I could spell boobs on my graphic calculator, though, so that was fun. $200 well spent. Remember our graphic calculators we had to buy?
Yeah, they're like 30 cents now.
So everything you're doing, smash the Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, head on over to Rumble. What you are doing is working. The views of Americans are changing on the transgender issue, and I mean pulling away by a significant margin. So sometimes people say nothing is going well. No. There's a huge difference between what is happening in this White House and administration and what is happening with the American people on the ground. It really is, it's heartening to see. So we'll be talking about that. So I bring you tidings of great joy. And if you're watching today on YouTube and you hear and see this at any point, that means head on over to Rumble. We're not going to self-censor. Gerald, number 2, he looks like death warmed over because he's sick.
I merely have the sniffles, my friend.
That's just Gerald.
Is that what you call it, where you coughed up a lung?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I almost passed out during run-through, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
It's that red tide. I'm good. You sound a little roomy to me. I don't know if it's because we have 2 microphones with the HodgeTwins, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. My headphones are off. I have the ear blockage, too.
I'm the sick one.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow's live. We haven't done a big live stream like that in a while.
I know. It'll be fun. I mean, the last one we did was the Trump thing, but that was a little bit more just kind of waiting around for something to happen. This one's going to be like...
No, it was a brag. Was the last
well, no,
thing.
Trump being arraigned.
The last one before that was January 6th.
Yeah.
Which was canceled because of the storm, so we did it anyway.
They were canceled because of a storm. By the way, they're in D.C. when they hold these hearings. Not sure if you knew that. And a storm hit Florida.
Yeah. So you guys, well, we put in a poll out there. If you really don't want us to do the mega live stream tomorrow, let us know. I think there's a poll on social media. But if we do it, we can't do a show tomorrow morning and likely not Thursday morning because it'll be like 3 hours long. But there will be a Friday show. And in third chair, you know them, you love them.
Yeah, there we go.
We're going to get dinged.
I'm
Queen,
okay.
I don't care what they wanted.
Come on.
Would that sound like Queen, Miss Daisy? You can follow them at Conservative Twins. Keith and Kevin Hodge, how are you guys?
Doing good, man. Doing real good.
Yeah. And that's one homosexual I really like.
Are you guys really fans of...
That was one bad homo.
Yeah. Are y'all really fans of Queen?
Oh, hell yeah. Who ain't?
I thought you were kidding.
Most black people.
That's homophobic, Gerald.
Yes.
Not really.
I don't think Queen is that big in the black community, is it not?
Well, I'm kind of gay, so it doesn't matter.
Wow.
We're not really big in the black
Gay
community.
William never misses an episode, and he just saw a black buff twin say, I'm kind of gay, going, oh my Lord.
Missed opportunity.
It's like a cartoon. His seat just shot through the ceiling. Gonna pee upstream, I'll tell you that. It's a live show, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, tune in. That's the best thing, because notifications don't work. Before we move on to anything else, Donald Trump's depositions took place last Friday. And they're everything.
No. This is from November. They were released.
They were released last Friday. They took place a while ago, but they were released last Friday. But some people have been digging through them. And here are some highlights. Again, just to put a smile on your face.
When you said in that video that Ms. Leeds would not be your first choice, you were referring to her physical looks, correct?
Just the overall. I look at her, I see her, I hear what she says, whatever. You wouldn't be a choice of mine either, to be honest with you. I hope you know myself. I would not, under any circumstances, have any interest in you. I'm honest when I say.
You see the moment in his head where he's like, I'm going to keep doing this under no circumstances. And I know you could present to me, let's do a thought exercise, okay? Like improv. Yes, and? Give me a circumstance. I don't know, Mr. Trump, maybe. No, you're ugly. That's how it ends.
Hey, I wonder what his attorney was doing. He's like, shut up.
Yes,
Shut the fuck up.
Just say no, yes, or I don't remember. I can't say that I remember everything. That would be a lie.
I just never remember the people that tell me stuff.
Yes.
But that was actually facts what he said when it comes to when you're famous.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with what he said at all, but they're trying to demonize him just because he has a preference.
Well, it's an impractical thing. I mean, what is it, a fishhook maneuver?
Yeah, I don't really know how you do it.
I mean, that's just
how
a
you
weird,
grab him.
It's not a thing.
What is it? You're acting like it's the butcher from Gangs of New York.
I don't
mean,
know.
I think it
I
was
mean,
self-explanatory. He was just saying you can grab ladies, and this is the problem too. Now, remember that was a big thing that everyone was. Okay, you don't think Motley Crue? You don't think the Rolling Stones? Like, this is something famous people. It's not a good thing.
No,
and that's probably because you're a conservative Christian, right? Where you're saying, okay, it's not a good thing to go around and be promiscuous and sleep. But the truth is, this was glorified by Hollywood for decades, and now they want to. Oh, you would sleep with a groupie? Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, many people would. Yes.
Like 4 minutes?
It took about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, look. And actually, I have a quote. We're also. Oh, I forgot to mention this. We're going to be talking about Florida. They're no longer allowing the Communist Chinese Party to purchase land here in the United States. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Where do you guys line up on that? You think that the communist government of China should be able to buy land in the United States? And if you think that a governor saying, yeah, no, hold on, communists who are hell-bent on the destruction of America shouldn't be able to own land here, do you think that's big government? Because that's the argument they're going to use. All right. This brings us to... since we were just sort of going the illogical route, this goes to what we've seen now from the former vice president at a White House screening of this film, American-Born Chinese. Former vice president had some problems with pronunciation, bilingually, which brings us to This Week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I honored a group of trailblazing artists with National Medals of Arts and Humanities. The group included groundbreaking Asian Americans like Vera Wang and Joan Shengang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa. I think I pronounced it correctly. She can call me Joe Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Nailed it.
How is this not everywhere?
Yeah.
That is the worst by far. I almost felt bad for him for a second. Then I didn't.
No.
He can stutter in English as well as Chinese. And you can see the moment on his face where he gives up mentally, like the boom goes the dynamite kid. He's like, and Kawawa. You can call me Joe, but someone light me. That's what he wants. He wants the light. He's looking for the Muppet Cane to yank his corpse off that stage.
But who's the intern who basically made him say these difficult names? It's like, don't give him names to say. Just say many famous people.
Yeah,
You'll
exactly.
probably stumble through that.
Right.
Come on, help him.
Donald Trump would have just like, and so many, well, you know your name. Many people. I don't need to say you know your name, right? Everyone here knows their name because they're such a wonderful people who all know their own names.
Where everybody knows your name.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows the whoa. See, I knew it, but I just wanted you to know I know. His stuttering, it actually reminded me of this old, I think we have a clip, this old Richard Pryor bit.
You know what? I wanted to tell you about a Chinese restaurant. I went in and I heard the funniest that I'd ever heard in my life was a Chinese person that stuttered. I've never heard a Chinese person stutter in my life. And this motherfucker was off into it. You know, my floor.
Man, if he were alive.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we did. We might play one of his bits. That's one of the funniest things that I talked about from an old comedy club. I don't know if you can find it, where he did a one-act sonnet, and it was all about a racist play that was being performed for inmates. All right.
That'll be behind the paywall.
Yeah, it'll be behind the paywall.
Obviously.
So let's get to this, DeSantis. And by the way, hit like if you're watching on YouTube right now. Head over to Rumble, but hit like because it helps the algorithm. We still want to reach people on YouTube. Yeah. Because there are demons there. Now, on Monday, Governor Ron DeSantis, he signed now into law this legislation banning and just to be clear, when people say, stop Asian hate, stop Chinese hate, that was racist of me. It's not Asian hate, it's Chinese hate.
Right. Chinese hate.
Stop Chinese hate. Look, no one here hates Chinese people. I do, however, hate the Chinese Communist Party, the government. And if you are an American and if you care about the Chinese people, you would be well advised to hate them also. So the bill bans the Communist Party. Some people are trying to frame it as though Chinese people, Chinese Americans, nope. The Chinese Communist government from buying land in the state of Florida.
So today, Florida makes it very clear, we don't want the CCP in the Sunshine State. We want to maintain this as the free state of Florida, and that's exactly what these bills are doing.
I love it. He has two Asians right there. Just
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I know. China is asshole.
You beat me by like 2 seconds. I was about to push that.
Yeah, that wasn't by coincidence.
No. As you can see, we have two Chinese people here.
Yes, I clap. I what you call prop. I prop.
Talking.
No, but the point. Look, the point is well made. I'm just joking. But so the law, just to be clear, it bans Chinese. It bans them from purchasing land in Florida, right? So there's also legislation like this that's being considered in Texas. Just to be clear.
But by the way, just let me make a quick point. This actually has caveats, right? So if you have dual citizenship, United States and Chinese, you can still buy land. Right. If you've been here for a certain period of time, you can still buy land. What they're trying to do is to make sure that the Chinese Communist Party can't come in and just buy up land, which is what they do around the world.
Right, so it stops Chinese nationals themselves. But it doesn't stop all Chinese. It doesn't stop any Americans, put it that way.
Not at all.
No Americans, no Chinese Americans. Stops, of course, the government of China and, of course, people who could be their proxies, half of whom have slept with Eric Swalwell. Like, I mean,
it's not a who's who.
It's a conspiracy theory that we think they're trying to infiltrate our government. They slept with your representatives, and by the way, nothing happened. Nope. That guy still is employed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd fire interns here if I found out they were sleeping with Chinese spies.
Well, that's fair too. Yeah.
Well, come on, that's a little harsh.
Whose head just popped up? He's like, oh no. So, of course, the media is completely outraged, right, over these kinds of bills. And here is something, again, I've told you this, they'll try and turn this against you and say, well, so if you support any legislation, you're not a conservative because that means you support big government. No. Conservative, right-wing, if you want to use that term, conservative, constitutionalist, it doesn't mean that we don't believe in government. We believe in a very limited, legitimate purview of government. How do we find out? Well, good news is we have an instruction manual. Yeah, we have the Constitution of the United States. Mm-hmm. So protecting us from threats, foreign and domestic, that would be a legitimate role of government. That's why none of us say we shouldn't have a military. We think there's corruption in the military. We think there's corruption in our intelligence communities. We want to streamline it. We want it to be efficient, but there is a legitimate role for a military, for example, regulation to make sure that people are not being fleeced through business, through illegal means. These are legitimate roles, and I believe a legitimate role of the United States government would be to prevent a foreign adversary who wants to witness the destruction of America according to their own declarations. I think that's a legitimate role. You can comment if you agree, if you disagree, if you think that's unlibertarian of me. But of course, this is the argument that the left is using. They're outraged by the fact that communists cannot purchase land in Florida.
You know what? People said that when the Japanese took over, Pebble Beach, they bought Pebble Beach and they bought 30 Rock, that it was the end of the American century. And guess what?
Yes.
We survived it. You know what it's called? A free market, which again, Republicans are supposed to support free markets. Exactly. They're supposed to support free enterprise with Disney, with cruise lines, with small businesses. Like, this is about as overarching big government, socialist government is as I've seen.
First off, he's so stupid that he referred to Disney and cruise lines as small businesses. Now, I don't care if you're a big business, good for you, so long as you're an honest business. But again, it's not a free market for American land to be purchased through potentially funds that have been gained through coercion, like with communism. Let me understand this. It's socialist big government to not allow communist governments to buy land in the United States. Did I miss something? Is there something I missed?
No, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. In fact, but here's the fun part: we can't buy land in China. They allow us no rights to buy land. By the way, they don't even respect our freaking IP. They just take your phone and be like, "Well, that's interesting. We have one just like it in 3 months."
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's like, why do we care what these people think? It's not Chinese citizens of the United States that we're talking about. Joe Scarborough, a former Republican congressman, I think, at some point. We're talking about the government. We're talking about China's playbook around the world. And apparently you haven't done any research on what they do.
He talked about Japan. And by the way, a lot of people don't understand that with the Japanese, first off, this is not like 1980s Japan. But if you look at, for example, Harley Davidson, huge mistake for Ronald Reagan. I think this goes back to the AMF days. These things were awful. But unfortunately, they put a bunch of tariffs on our motorcycles going overseas, in Japan. Basically, they were effectively out of reach for purchase for the average Japanese citizen. And so they were shipping over better motorcycles like Honda, like Yamaha back then. And Ronald Reagan said, to make American companies competitive, we're going to put tariffs on it. But it was a quid pro quo because it was not, in fact, a free market.
Right, exactly. Same thing happened with Fujifilm. They basically dumped Fujifilm onto the American market at pennies on the dollar so that they could take out Kodak. Right. So these are not fair business practices. You can't expect us to play the free market game with people who don't have any interest in playing the free market game.
Especially if they decide to bankrupt American businesses through never-ending supply of dollars that are taken through coercion with the communist government, right? That's what China would love to do. China would love to put American businesses out of business by using taxpayer dollars, at gunpoint. Say, just drop it for pennies on the dollar, take out the business, or same thing with land. How much land is too much? When you think about the communist Chinese government and what their interests are, do you think they care about you? Not only do they not care about you, they want what is worse for you, just to be clear.
By the way, you know who we're not telling to not buy land in the United States? Canada.
Yeah.
There's 17 other countries that have more land in the United States than does China. We're picking on China because of the Chinese Communist Party, the communist.
I don't want Canada to buy land either. But
I don't either. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying,
they had their shot, they blew it.
The cause for concern is not because it's Chinese, it's Asian. It's because
they have a bigger landmass than the United States to begin with. Sorry that most of it is a tundra wasteland. No. You chose it, okay?
We sold them Detroit, Stephen. It's fine.
It's
we didn't want that anyway.
Yeah. It's even worse than re-gifting.
Yeah.
Annex it. Take it. What the hell's the difference?
Take it back. Whatever.
And by the way, I don't know if you know this. The Chinese they're not just buying land in Florida. This happens across they've gone even as far north and west as Wyoming. They've Netflix Netflix got the rights for the TV show about it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's for people listening on audio. Well worth it to switch to video.
Yes.
Stay on that one.
So a couple of fast facts. China owns about 384,000 acres of land in the United States, and you ruined it. I was going to say, guess how many acres we have, but the answer is 0.
I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well.
Also, by the way, this is something else. You can even look at immigration laws in Mexico. We have some of the most not only relaxed, not only tolerant, but subsidized policies as it relates to immigrants coming, not just illegal immigrants, but foreign nationals coming here to the United States and foreign governments. People don't realize that in Mexico, if you're not a citizen, the level of limitations on your rights, I don't know the exact law. Someone can bring it from the control room. You have it here?
Yeah, so that you can't buy land within 50 miles of the coast, or 50 kilometers of the coast.
Oh, I thought it was like 50 feet.
No, it's 50 kilometers.
50 kilometers?
Or 100.
They don't even allow you to be beach adjacent?
Not even close. They have some fantastic cartel land that you can buy.
Yes, they do.
Or within 100 kilometers of the border, I believe, of an international border, which they only have 2. So,
can you imagine if we said, so if you're Mexican here, you're not a natural-born American, you can't buy property within 50 kilometers of the beach. I'm like, okay?
You mean like the only land I would ever want to buy in Mexico?
Yes, exactly. No, I'm saying in California or in Florida. Imagine if we didn't allow them anywhere near the beach. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the lamentations from the left? You won't let them get a beach condo.
No.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't let them get beach condos.
They can't afford it anyway.
Oh, no. See, that's racist.
It's science.
But they do great work on them. So,
Yeah.
They do, yes.
If you need to have your balcony outfitted.
Very hardworking.
You gotta get the right one.
Yeah.
Listen to this guy.
But this
The
is,
right one.
this is an issue, of course, is here in the it's a national. Let me know if you think it's a national security issue. You can comment below. Not to mention a primary concern, especially in Florida, is relevant: the poorly built Chinese amusement parks.
Jeez, kids just went flying out of that thing.
By the way, they missed the second part of that clip where there's another one that goes flying.
Oof.
Yeah, it's even more violent. That's right, Yakuza. You saw the full clip.
It was Disneyland, I think, that did that.
Was it Disneyland?
Yeah, I think Disneyland did it.
Ages 3+.
Oh, what?
3+?
Yeah.
Ages 3+.
Wait a minute.
First off, wouldn't it be past their bedtime if it's
Holy
after dark?
crap.
Yeah. To buy gays as well.
That's screwed.
I really hope this keeps going. So, and that shows that you can have an impact. Look, this is the theme of today. Okay, DeSantis. We just talked about that. Well, you elected DeSantis, and by the way, he's emboldened because there are a lot of he has overwhelming support, including, by the way, by Hispanic voters in his state. Now, this brings us to some polling here. Also, Bud Light. We just said that was a win for you. What is happening in the American public? And I get it. It's easy to think doom and gloom. Now, there might be a point where the I guess the divergence is so stark between the government and the leftist activists, and that's the entire Democratic Party, and the average American, that things unfortunately could go sideways. They could get ugly. Yeah. That's how that happens. Because right now, every single poll that we have available to us and every single sort of recent cultural shift that you have seen, it has been an irrefutable rejection of progressivism, of leftism. People said, come on, the Bud Light thing, that's too much. Maybe not all Americans, but enough to affect the company. Same thing now when you look at the polls, the presidential polls between Biden and either of the two potential Republican candidates, Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. Biden's losing, but there's more than meets the eye. So let's show CNN not happy about it first.
In the first real snapshot, if you will, of President Biden's standing since his reelection announcement, voters are saying he has real work to do, and that's even among his own party. A new Washington Post ABC News poll found that 58% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents that they want their party, to nominate someone else. Biden's overall approval rating remains underwater as well, 36% approval, according to the Washington Post ABC News poll. That's the lowest for any American president president at this point in their first term. That's dating back to Harry Truman.
So some context here that matters. This is an ABC Washington Post poll. Right. This has been well known to have a left bias.
Oh, of course.
Just to be clear.
Yes.
Now, why do they think that Biden is so crappy? Now, hold on a second, because I don't want Gerald to ruin it like last time. Only 32%. Unfit mentally?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Only 32 people said that he.
I can't believe I misread that. Well, that's the problem with not having prompter and just having some facts in front of me. It's my fault.
Yes.
So hold on a second. Let me make sure I get this right.
Do it right.
32% say Biden is, you're right, mentally fit to be president. Here's why, though, because the next number is, so in other words, the number that don't believe he's mentally fit. Can we have that? I want to make sure I have that number right, because 54% say that Donald Trump is mentally fit to be president.
And it gets worse if you do the physically fit enough to be president of the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's something a little bit lower for Biden. I think like 7%.
Yeah, I know it's lower,
or something like that. And then Donald Trump is actually he's thought to be more physically fit to be president than he was, I think, when he ran in 2020.
I believe it.
He's just gotten stronger.
Yeah, it's true.
It's all those Trump NFTs. He just sucks the life out of them.
It's just anger keeps you young.
Yeah.
People say that stress causes cancer. I don't agree.
Well,
I think seething, simmering rage is a fountain of youth.
Yeah, there you go. That's his fuel.
Even though I'm physically fit, I could go for hours. I wouldn't with you because you're ugly, so I wouldn't.
I would never do that.
I could go for days. I'm like a carpenter with love making, but I wouldn't with you. I wouldn't make any love to you. I wouldn't even re-gift you love.
So cruel.
So again, I'm looking for that number. How many people actively answered Joe Biden is not mentally fit?
Correct. Okay. We'll get that.
Or is mentally fit.
You already have the mentally fit part. It's 32%.
32% said mentally fit.
We need the opposite.
Okay, we need the opposite number.
Unfit.
And then 54% say that Trump is mentally fit.
Correct.
So 32 to 54, which means a majority of Biden voters think that he's not mentally fit to be president.
Yes.
Here's something else. Only 36% think that Biden is better at handling the economy than Donald Trump. 54% said that Donald Trump handled the economy better than Biden. Now, I'm not saying this poll means everything.
Right, exactly.
Just to be clear, this was a phone poll. I don't know who answers their phone. Some of them involved landlines. But again, we'll compare it to previous Washington Post, ABC polls in the past. Here's what's also pretty important. In a general election matchup, Donald Trump and DeSantis, they both beat former Vice President Biden.
That's huge.
Trump beats him by 7.
Yeah.
DeSantis beats him by 5, which, by the way, those are kind of within the margin of error. It means that both of them beat Joe Biden if the election were held today, according to this poll.
Right. But that's pretty important because Biden for a while was beating Donald Trump in the polling.
Well, right now, former Vice President, he's a little more popular than gout, but 5 points less popular than rectal cancer. The only thing, he'd be any less popular, he'd be Keith Olbermann's taint. That's Joe Biden. This guy right now, think about this for a second. The previous poll, by the way, had Trump up by about 3 points
he started
prior to this. So there is a spread that's taking place. And this is important to note for a couple of reasons. I've been saying this for a long time. You've had 8 years of Barack Obama. Okay. Then you had 3 years of Donald Trump. All right. Because the last year was screwed and by design. Let's be honest. We kind of all, I think they just officially announced the end of the emergency or something.
Finally.
There's some kind of new term. I don't know what they're saying, but they're saying like, you can go back out now. It's like, oh, great. Don't wait up. And now you'll have another 4 years of former Vice President Biden. So even if people really, really don't like Donald Trump's personality, they go, well, 8, 3, 3.5, and another 4. This is the first time in our generation where there is enough of a contrast. And even if there actually may be some value in the fact that the contrast is so stark, even though Donald Trump is arguably the most bombastic dick that we've ever had in office, he still did such a better job than Barack Obama and his proxy, former Vice President Biden, that people are reverting back to Donald Trump in these polls. That's a very powerful message, as opposed to DeSantis, who would be an unknown. Now, let me give you some examples here really quickly of some previous polls from Washington Post and ABC. I don't know if they were always when they merged, because I used to do separate polls. Now it's been, I know, at least since 2016.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, in the 2016 election, meaning the primaries, Hillary was leading by 2. Okay. And then the aggregate poll, because they weren't doing the pre-presidential polls, they didn't really have the same kind of primary season. The aggregate with Washington Post, ABC, same poll, had Biden up by 12. Jeez. By 12. So in other words, you can't say, well, this is a poll like Rasmussen. People will say, oh, it's weighted toward Donald Trump.
Exactly.
No, again, you look at the history of this poll. This is one of the widest spreads that I think has ever come from this poll in a national election for any Republican since 2016. I could be off by a point or two, but I spent some time with it. That's a big deal. And it's anyone's game. It can change.
Yeah.
But there are also some other polls. But you were about to say something there.
Yeah. So what the poll number, right? So 33% believe he is mentally fit. We have that. Yeah. What we need is how many people.
So it's a poll of 1,006 people. So 33% of the 1,006.
No. I got that. Had almost no confidence in the economy. 48% didn't say like, things aren't going great. They were like, how much confidence do you have? None.
Zero.
Zero. No, but maybe more than none. Zero. Absolutely zero confidence.
I see you have a notepad there. Put that down on your notepad. Zero. None. You know what? How many us in the house too? Everyone. Yeah. Put everyone here down for a 0 as well.
Yeah. And just so you know how many people perceive Congress, they hate Congress. Congress's approval rating is typically somewhere in the very low 30%. So for a president to be getting down to the congressional approval number, is insane. It doesn't happen.
Well, here's something else too: is people will say, "Okay, well, this is just one poll." Well, now we have 2, and again, this is a pretty left-leaning poll, so it does matter. Here's something else: culturally, there's a shift, which I think is more important. Majority of Americans say that gender is based on your sex at birth. Just to be clear, from this WAPO ABC poll, that's overlay D there.
Right.
66% now oppose biological men competing in high school women's sports.
Yes.
That's up 13 points.
We were worried about this, and every pundit on CNN and ABC and MSNBC is saying, I can't believe that the Republicans are so worried about these trans people. They're afraid of trans people. They have no idea. They're not in touch with what Americans want, especially according to this poll.
And by the way, if you take out white women, I guarantee you that number is in the 70s or 80s. No, I'm not joking.
No, you're right. No.
Right. White men, black women, and Hispanic women and men across, they all opposed.
Yeah.
Or a very, very small percentage, if they supported, would be biological men and women's sports. Yep. It was overwhelmingly white women who don't compete in sports, so they don't understand the violence that comes with a biological male beating the crap out of you, saying like, be nice. We have to be, come on.
Trophies?
White guilt.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
so 60, think about that. That's a plus 13 points there. So you see a national election right now, which we'll get back to that. But you look at the cultural issues, and this is why we've talked about this. There are only 2 genders. Changed my mind. I think about 7 years ago. I don't know. It was 27. The first one was 2016. Maybe it was 2017. I've always said this is one of the most important issues of our time. Why? Because you can't always disprove your opposition's argument, all of their arguments. But if you can so irrefutably disprove one, if you can prove one to be a lie, people go, all right, now I'm going to have to question everything coming from this side. And this is...
Fox to the knees, and that's it. Fallen Fox.
Morning victory.
Thomas wins the NCAA championship.
As Alana working her way here, and by the way, she is a U.S. Army veteran, so thank her.
Just the kind of girls you want to take home to mommy.
That bitch can dunk.
I like
mommy was Buffalo
dunking
Bill.
on the girls. That's amazing. It's fun to watch now.
Yeah.
I'll watch it now.
Yeah. Just for the novelty.
There you go.
Could you imagine a dude with a wig and just dunking on bitches and I would watch that.
Yeah. No, just every WNBA team gets one. Transgender. I almost said the wrong word. Gets one transgender person on the team.
Yes, that's some bad. Or Brittany Griner.
Or
How about no?
But I repeat
someone just
myself.
handed you a note.
Oh, it's. I get. Oh. Don't need it,
guys.
I'm
What
gay.
is it? Don't need it. You don't need it. No. Is it just telling you have a booger or something?
You want to read it for the classroom?
Do you want to read it for the classroom?
I don't want to read it for the classroom.
By the way,
I can.
One time I was passing notes with my friend, and they were so profane, so profane. The teacher said, and I knew that this teacher was going to read it for the classroom. I swear to you, the teacher was like, "I'm going to read it for the classroom," and I took it, ripped it up. And I swallowed it. I was like, wow. I was like, I am not getting expelled today.
It was an apology from Hootie.
I had a decision to make. Apologize on your own time,
Hearts
Hootie.
and all. No.
Also, 70%, you guys, 70% do not want any trans issues discussed in elementary school. Hey, I thought that was MAGA Republicans, extremists.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Common sense prevails.
Boom. I mean, that's huge. Take those numbers and listen to what the media say. Listen to what Vice President Joe Biden says. Listen to what Kamala Harris and KGP and all of these people on the left in Congress. Listen to what they say, and then look at those numbers. They are trying to desperately convince you that you do not exist.
And when it doesn't, the gaslighting is to an almost clinical and legal degree. Yeah. In other words, 70% of Americans say, how high of a percentage do you think it would be if they actually conducted the poll? What about transitioning children? Guarantee you that would be if they don't want it discussed in elementary school, 80-something%. Yeah. They would say, so you do not support gender-affirming care? In other words, the vast majority of Americans are saying, hands off our kids. Come on, they're saying gender-affirming care. And Disney is saying, after dark pride nights, ages 3 and up. Parker Brothers.
I don't understand why a 2-year-old couldn't go if a 3-year-old or a 1-year-old. Disney, why 3 years old? Is that some kind of line for you, or you think it's acceptable at 3? Is this a random
pedophiles have standards?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 13 and up. I don't know, 31 and up.
32 months. I'm not a monster. You have to be this tall to be molested by one of these producers. Yeah. How many are you? I'm this many. Good enough for me. Get in the back. It is Disney. Look, it's disgusting.
It is.
By the way, smash the Rumble button if you're watching right now on Rumble. And here's something I wanted to talk about, the presidential issue. You can tell me how to smash the Rumble button. This is a very rare opportunity. So culturally, that gives us some context as to why Donald Trump and DeSantis are winning. That means that it's not just about personality at that point. That means that it is about ideas, at least right now. And again, I understand that this is a little bit early, but it is significant when you look at the totality of the polls. But when it comes down to the presidential election, either one beats Joe Biden. So you are in a position to make a decision that you haven't had in many recent primaries. Who do you actually want to be president?
Yeah.
It's that simple. In other words, the electability issue, if these hold relatively stable, that's kind of out the window. In other words, you don't have to say, well, I like Donald Trump, but DeSantis may be more electable. Or I like DeSantis, but I think that Donald Trump has he'll probably have more money for the campaign. You, in the primary, get to decide who do you want to be president, period, because either one of them beat this guy.
Yeah.
That's not often the case. Remember when you had, I think it was down to, was it Romney, Gingrich, and Santorum? Yeah. At one point it was down to McCain, and I don't remember who else was in those. But these were not candidates where you were saying, who do I want to be president? You're going, all right, well, I think this guy maybe has a chance of winning. Both of them have a good chance at winning. And so it comes down to who you want. And I want to hear from all of you who you just want to be president. Get rid of the issue of electability. Get rid of the issue. Get rid of the analysis as to who you think is most capable. They both are right now. So in this world, if both of them could beat Joe Biden in this election, who do you want to be president? And Gerald, you had some interesting thoughts.
Yeah, so a long time ago, a while back, when we were discussing.
I guess the land before time. Littlefoot's mom coming up as oil
in a galaxy far, far away. I was on the DeSantis train because I was worried about Donald Trump's electability. I thought all of the baggage that he had in a general would be very difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
Right? And I even made that point several times. I said I would vote for Donald Trump if he was the nominee, 100%, and I would have no problems doing it.
To be clear, I think everyone here would vote for either one. Yeah.
But I thought, okay, look, if DeSantis can take the best qualities from Trump and continue that somewhat brashness, like that disrespect for fake kind of media, and accomplish things, then I think he was a better candidate in the general. But now that really seems to be going away, and honestly, I don't think this number gets better for Biden. I think it gets so bad for Biden, in fact, that the Democrats push somebody else into the position.
I don't think that'll happen, but continue.
I do. I'd be willing to bet you $1, but not significantly more than $1.
Okay.
Only $1.
All right.
In Trading Places fashion.
I'll bet more than $1.
I now have no problem at all, because I know that if this poll is holding true, and obviously that you have to get to the general election and actually see that that's holding.
Right. Assuming that it's the most free and fair election ever.
It would change. It would absolutely be the most free and fair election ever. No problems whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
It would actually change my mind. It would actually change my mind from DeSantis, because I'm not interested in who I think should be president if I don't think they're going to win. I am interested in getting the best person into the office. And if that means it's DeSantis, then it's DeSantis. But now it looks like all bets are off, and it can be Trump, and I would rather have that.
You would rather have Donald Trump?
I would rather DeSantis run Florida for 4 more years and then carry the torch for another 8 as president, if that is what happens after Trump, and have 12 years of those two guys combined.
That is an important point, too, because, again, you have that contrast. You have Obama, you have Trump, then you have Biden, right? Whereas DeSantis is an unknown.
Right.
And so I think continuing that contrast, which I do think would be very fruitful. Look, Donald Trump made a lot of mistakes. I actually hope he clears out the swamp, which he did not do last time. But I think seeing the contrast economically, seeing the contrast as far as the freedom that we experience here in the United States, I do think that there would be a real value in him being, and that would actually pave the way more effectively for DeSantis. Whereas DeSantis could do really well, but people might not in their mind go, oh, so it's kind of like a continuance of Trump. People tend to have short-term memories, and they say, let's try something new. Yeah. They go from something new to something new. But if it goes Obama, Donald Trump, former Vice President Biden, Trump, and he does well again, I do think you're looking at 4 years of DeSantis paves the way. He can draft in. What do you guys? Who would you want if you could pick DeSantis or Trump now that they both beat Biden in a general?
I mean, I love DeSantis, but I would feel guilty if.
Don't forget the
depositions talking shit to women.
Yeah. And his defense was she's ugly.
Yeah.
I would never.
Nobody would believe. I'm not going to believe her.
No. I mean, she's ugly.
Yeah. Well, you got to go back in time. She probably looked good. Go back in time and look at Hillary Clinton. I would bang that.
You don't put the steering wheel lock on a 98 Oldsmobile, right?
No.
Right. You're not worried about it. You steal the Ferrari.
Yeah. I think I'm voting for Trump. Yeah, I would vote for either one of them. Whoever comes through the primary, that's who I'm going to vote for.
Well, but
in the primary,
I want to see them to debate.
I don't.
You know?
I don't want DeSantis bloodied for when he runs for president, because Trump will go absolutely off on him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think DeSantis will hold his own. He did in Florida and like the whole Chinese thing, he's like everything Trump done. He's been a step.
But we haven't seen him on a national debate stage.
Right. Yeah. And here's what he's not ready for. It's small penis DeSantis.
Yes.
How do you respond to that? No, it's big. It really is.
I did see an ad where they had DeSantis like all fat and pudgy, and then they had Trump walking to some cool music.
I'm telling you, it would be no holds barred, and I just don't want to see that for him.
Yeah, it would be. That's true. You cannot prepare for that. And I do think there would be some tricks up Donald Trump's sleeve.
Oh, definitely.
Like present a picture, be like, now what I have here is DeSantis' father right next to Mr. Ted Cruz's dad right there at the grassy knoll.
You helped him.
Oh, wow.
Who knew that?
He already alluded to that he might be a child molester. With
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like a bad Photoshop picture.
Right.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that a lot of people know. If they want to vote for him, that's fine. But maybe they'd feel differently if they knew that your father was actually Ted Bundy. Isn't that right? Ron Bundy. And then everyone would be calling him Ron Bundy. He'd be like, son of a bitch. He got me.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right. So, no, but I understand this is a shakeout phase, but I don't want to see. That's a good point, Jill. Neither one of them needs to be bloodied any more than they are at this point. And I do think DeSantis has been handling that component better than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's been pretty rough.
He's got a great chance.
Trump supporters have been calling DeSantis a Soros plant.
I know. This is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing right now that you have to fight against if you're Ron DeSantis. Like, you're just going to get punched from every single side. And look, he's so far down in the primary. It doesn't make sense for him to try to run if Trump is doing that well.
Why are you so upset that I said you're funded by Soros? No one would be that upset unless they were funded by Soros.
It's going to be
what? No, I'm not. That's what I would say. If I were funded by Soros, I would say, no. That's what I would say. What say you?
He's like,
I'm not. See what I tell you? He's saying that's an admission of guilt, folks.
Cuts to a Scooby-Doo episode as evidence of him pulling Soros' mask off, and it's DeSantis. We have it right here.
Silver lining. People are tired of the trans issues, and the gap is getting wider. Sorry, poor choice of words. It's the winning margin is just, okay, the point is it's weird, okay? You all understand that it's weird. You want to protect your kids, and either Donald Trump or DeSantis, hey, maybe that means that Swami has a chance.
Yeah.
What?
Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't know what Donald Trump would do to him in a debate. That might be really uncomfortable. Okay.
It would.
Yes, it would. I know, we're all picturing it now, now, exactly what he would do to him.
I can't say
He'd
any
just
of
be like, small penis, terrorist, and just go.
just completely overlook them.
Have a picture of him on Flight 93. Who's this? Oh, it's him jumping out with a parachute. Look at that, photographic evidence, folks.
He's like, but I'm Indian.
Vivek's like, I'm not Muslim. That's exactly what a Muslim terrorist would say. He would say he's not, even though he is, folks. Okay. So let's go to, speaking of terrorists, the shooter in Allen. Look, obviously this is a heavy topic. We covered it yesterday, but I think now there's some what should I say, discrepancies? And you comment below and hit the like button, share, any of that stuff because it helps the algorithm. But comment if you've been following this, and it's hard to sort of parse through what's real and what's not. So we've done our best here to try and consolidate this for you and give you a clear picture as to what is, at the very least, fundamentally dishonest and what some motives might be behind that. So anyway, Allen, Texas, the shooter, Mauricio Garcia. We mentioned his name yesterday. We weren't going to. But at this point, you know what? All of these shooters, when the news decides which manifestos they unearth, okay, either it all has to be open or none of it has to be open. The only thing more dangerous than a lack of truth, in my opinion, is half-truths. I really do think that can be more corrosive. So this is why we're going to try and be as transparent as possible. So Mauricio Garcia, some of his social media was allegedly unearthed. And I say allegedly because there's a lot behind this.
The Texas Department of Public Safety, in charge of this investigation, has yet to hold a news conference or release information about the shooter. But WFAA has obtained a bulletin sent to law enforcement agencies about Garcia. It paints him as a radical, saying initial review and triage of the subject's social media accounts revealed hundreds of postings and images to include writings with racially and ethnically motivated violent extremist rhetoric, including neo-Nazi material and material espousing the supremacy of the white race.
Okay, there's a lot here that doesn't add up. Yeah. So first off, you would think, social media. Okay, so Facebook, maybe Instagram, maybe 4chan. The posts that they're talking about were retrieved from the Russian social media network, OK. And OK is short for, and by the way, this is the number 2 social media platform in Russia. It's the Friendster of Russia. It's Russia's MySpace. It's OK is short for Odla. Can we get Gary in here? So Gary's Russian. Onoklasnitsky.
Real quick, get in the chair, Gary. Give us. The
how is it pronounced? OK. It's short for the social media network is called OK.
It's called Odnoklasniki, and it basically translates.
Hold on a second. You're moving way too fast. Say it again.
Odnoklasniki.
It is the most inefficient language that's ever existed.
Oldnaklassnika.
How do you say apple?
Яблоко.
Oh my God. All right, okay. So Oldnaklassnika translates to?
Classmates.
Classmates.
Yes.
So this Hispanic American was on, say it one more time.
Одноклассники.
Classmates. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Gary. We appreciate it.
Gary?
He has to go call his mom. It's going to be a 9-hour phone call. So that's what was retrieved. The profile included what they say, right? Troves of Nazi imagery. Guns, ammo, pictures of the Allen Mall, including a graph showing peak hours. Tim Pool screenshots.
What?
Is what you know Tim Pool, right? This was like, shit! Sorry, Tim. By the way, Tim, I don't believe it, just to be clear, okay?
No,
I don't think that you've radicalized anybody.
Tim!
And then, of course, unhinged diatribes, but praising the Nashville shooter, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for a Nazi white supremacist, considering that it was a trans liberal activist.
Right,
but again, you haven't had that manifesto, even though now they've retrieved his #2 social media Russian platform, Classmates. Oh, my God.
Doesn't make any sense. By the way, you'd only be on that site if you were a classmate of someone in Russia. That's the whole point.
Do you have any idea how they would react if that guy showed up, that Hispanic American, and be like,
what?
Where did you get lost and how did you get on plane over here? That is very detailed. It's almost too intricate that you are not lost. Like you meant to come here, but you're not supposed to be here. We are all white. We take 9 minutes to make lunch order. You are brown. You don't let fresh Nazi tattoos. Oh, yeah, nothing suspicious. Throw them in ditch with pedophiles. Okay. So this brings us to this week's Curious Coincidences. Got the HodgeTwins here. Let me give two black guys a couple more reasons to not trust the cops. So,
by the way, I just want to state that that's proof we can do good stingers.
Yep, it is. Yeah, it is.
Zip it.
We make our decisions and we stand by them. So let me bring you to coincidence number 1. Okay, the social media posts, again, the #2 social media platform of Russia. They were discovered, and this is something pretty interesting, by a researcher, okay, named Eric Toller. Okay. According to his own account, this is how he found the profile. I found his profile by searching for active profiles with the filters of his birthday, those living in the U.S., and male. About 50 results, and the Hitler smiley face avatar made it an easy pick for my first choice of checking if it was him.
Wow.
Now, coincidentally, Mr. Toller, this reporter, again, coincidentally, also the reporter who discovered the source of the leaked Pentagon documents last month.
Wow.
He then worked with the New York Times to break the story, just to be clear. This brings us to, now you might just say he's an investigative journalist, right? He's really, really good at finding Pentagon information and finding American Hispanics in the #2 Russian Classmates site.
Right. When nobody else found it.
It's a niche skill set.
Right.
I have a very particular set of skills. I will cross-reference your Hispanic name on a Russian classmate site, #2 in Russia. I'll link it to the New York Times, and then pretty much do nothing. That's what I'll do. So coincidence number 2 here. The same guy, Toller, currently serves as the director of training and research at a place called Bellingcat. And they describe themselves, I should say, as an independent research. Here's the truth. Bellingcat has received more than $250,000 from intelligence agencies, including a CIA shell company.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Funnel money.
They funnel money through it, which is what you would often do for legitimate news reporting.
Right.
They've also employed Bellinger, this company, several former British American intelligence agents. Okay, so Mark Polymeropoulos, the CIA's former deputy chief in operations for Europe and Eurasia, even went out of his way to be praising this outfit, Bellingcat, saying, "I don't want to be too dramatic, but we love this. Whenever we had to talk to our liaison partners about it." Keyword there. Instead of trying to have things cleared or worry about classification issues, you could just reference their work. Their work meaning Bellingcat, the place that employs this man who found the Russian classmates' information, of course, which is now the narrative that he was a neo-Nazi. By the way, if you're saying, okay, so some intelligence agencies sent some money to some other companies that went to this, but it's not like they received any direct American funding, because the founder of Bellingcat in 2016, the guy's name is Elliot Higgins, he said they never received government funding.
Right.
Until 2017, when he admitted that, okay, we received government funding. Federal grant. So you've got a reporter who works for an organization who also happened to find Pentagon information, an organization that would, almost like PBS, would not exist if not for money funneled from the CIA and intelligence agencies and directly from the federal government, happening to unearth this information.
Yes, and by the way, he found it on the number 2. I know we've made a joke, but the number 2 social media site for a country that's not known for being social. If I gave you like 50 guesses of country social media sites that you could search, Russia would not even be on the list of places to go and look.
No, it would not.
Why would you go I'm going to the number 2 platform in Russia. That's where he is.
It's exactly.
Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not an investigative journalist, though sometimes I am. I'd probably look at the number 1 Russia's social media platform and then move on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
right? Maybe
I
would China. Okay, no, not really. I don't know, Germany.
It would take me a while before I get down to the Friendster, to the Zynga of Russia. It wouldn't be the first place I would go. Wouldn't you? Like, you check like the number 1, you'd be like, what's the Russian equivalent to Facebook? It's Facebook. Okay, well, I guess he's not on Russian Facebook. All right, there we go. I covered my bases.
By the way, he had no interactions at all.
No interactions at all.
They just got so Russian in the loop. Yeah. That's all.
Yep.
These generic photos were uploaded. We're like, I'm not, look, this could be true, but it's just a curious.
Well, we'll continue, and you guys let us know. Comment below. We crowdsource this if there are more coincidences that we miss. I'm going to rattle through a few more. Here's coincidence number, 3, as I say in Russia.
Just swear.
That's the abbreviation. That's short. It's 3 talk. It's too long to say 3. God, it's such a long language. So this was all given to the public. Think about this, guys. Within like one day.
Yeah.
One day, the public was given access to all of this shooter's information. Again, assuming that all of it is accurate. I'm not even saying correct or dishonest. I'm saying assuming that it's accurate.
Yeah.
This is something that's pretty concerning. We have this. We have Tim Pool screenshots. We even know that the shooter was allegedly a fan of libs of TikTok, apparently.
Yeah.
And they say that he was inspired, right? This is one of the comments, that he was inspired by libs of TikTok and apparently had disdain for his Jewish teacher. But we're more than a month out from the Nashville shooting, and the shooter had a manifesto.
It's written down for us.
The shooter had a manifesto. It's there.
It's in English.
It exists.
Yes. It's also.
But the reason they don't want to give out the manifesto, but they will give all of the reasons for the inspiration from the number 2 Russia social media site for this guy, was, again, they said they didn't want any copycats. Remember that?
This manifesto lets other people read it, and then somehow copycats become involved.
And the main thing you were talking about is this called mass shooting contagion. And it's when the releases of manifestos then contribute to the other manifestos. Some people even copy and paste the manifestos into it. And it's, again, it's a copycat.
You get people who are doing copycat things. They see all the attention these things get in the media, and they're mentally unbalanced, and they go about this business.
Possible motive. There is a manifesto. Now, I'm sure there'll be all sorts of debate whether this manifesto should be made public. I would hope not. I don't think we want to be incentivising any more behaviour like this. We saw with the Christchurch shooting, that manifesto not be published, and I think
and here's the thing,
a sound move.
I agree with that in spirit, if you weren't pulling every single reaching motivation from the number 2 Russian social media platform to try and say that we have an epidemic. Do you not care about inspiring other white supremacists?
No.
There's no consistency in the application, and so either all of it has to be sealed, or none of it is sealed, and the public needs to know. Either the public has a right to know all of the motivations for these shooters, or none of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's propaganda.
Well, and some of the other things that people pointed out, there's confusion about the face of the person. Is this really the person?
Yes.
One way or the other. There's a lot of debate about that. The picture that we showed yesterday versus some of the pictures that showed up. The swastika and stuff, his face isn't in that photo that's being shown there, and it also looks like a very brand new kind of thing. No interactions, like I said, no shares, no interactions with his post. And this is the thing. I read through the post today before the show, and the thing that struck me was that there were no slurs whatsoever in that, which is not exactly like a white supremacist who's about ready to die by going and killing people, because you're going to die in
So this guy was willing to get Nazi tattoos, and SS tattooed on his firearms, but he's like, I better not drop the N-bomb on a Russian social media site. That's a CIA, opinion. That's a
The final thing that I thought was weird is that he had a Jewish teacher. He's supposed to be anti-Semitic too, right? So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Sorry. When you're praising Hitler, I don't know if I need to say this, but that's anti-Semitic as well, right?
Right.
So he was basically saying he had a Jewish teacher who was Miss White Karen or Miss White whatever, that he referred to her as, never referred to her in any way as anti-Semitic, but he just made a mistake. Jews aren't white, according to skinheads.
Yes.
To white supremacists. That you would never lump Jews into the same box that you're in and promoting if you are a white supremacist. And so
good point.
Some of these things just don't really add up. And other people have looked at it like doctors and said, look, I've read a lot of these manifestos, I've read a lot of these writings, and it doesn't match up with something that a sociopath would say.
Right.
This seems like it has the kind of the flow of it, but it has none of the other things that you would look for as kind of hallmarks of some of these manifestos. And it's like, this just looks too... It just looks
and people say, oh, conspiracy. Well, hold on a second. Conspiracy theorists. What about the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer when most of them turned out to be agents? When you look at the agents who were committing crimes on January 6th, it's no longer entrapment. They're the ones who they actually commit the crimes first. Federal agents are like, hey, come on, follow the leader. The federal agents go marching 2 by 2. Hurrah, hurrah, come on, everyone, follow the bouncing asshole. Marching, we're going to go on a tour. Entrapment means you can't encourage someone to commit a crime to catch them. These people have actively committed crimes. Members of the FBI, members of the CIA, to try and get other people to commit crimes. And in this case, it's a very important point. Let me recap this just to make sure I have this right. Okay. And you guys, please comment if you think I'm missing something. So this Hispanic American man who he was radicalized in a household with his non-English speaking parents.
Yeah.
Into being a white supremacist, also influenced by other noted white supremacists like Tim Pool and libs of TikTok. Had very recently freshly tattooed with Nazi and SS tattoos, according to what people are claiming, from what they have gathered from the #2 social media site in Russia, which confirms that this man is a white supremacist who, by the way, left a predominantly ethnic area of Dallas to a mostly white suburb to shoot not black people, but Asians and white people after leaving a treasure trove of information on said Russia's #2 social media platform, even though no one ever engaged with his posts. So all of that, but still nothing? On the Nashville shooter? Oh, it's for our safety. All right, let's just buy it wholesale. Curious coincidences, don't you think?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was looking at Gerald. Was it Keith or Kevin?
It was me.
Oh, okay.
Also, that Nashville shooting was a hate crime. That lady, that guy, whatever the fuck it was, targeted Christians. That was a hate crime.
Yes.
And they didn't want to put it out there.
Yeah, and it's very clear because they said it. And not just once or twice on, like, let's say, Lithuania's #4 Telegram app. This person said it all the time to, like, everyone they knew. It was like, hey, Nashville shooter, what are you doing today? Just hating Christians. Okay, that's what they do.
Everybody in Lithuania knew.
Yep.
And she actually killed, whatever the fuck it was, actually killed a black person.
Yep.
Yeah.
This person I know, I believe, did kill some Asian people. I know some white people.
3 Asian people and a couple of white people so far. I don't see any
black people who
were
mortally wounded. Which, of course, by the way, it's wrong. It's horrible that anybody was shot, but it just doesn't match up with the motive that you have been told. And please, by the way, if you are watching right now, please share the show because we are about to continue to discuss a topic that I know nothing about. But actually, I guess there's Gerald, fill me in on this because we're going to Mug Club.
Yeah, we'll go to Mug Club and talk more about it. But turns out when you wait for more information, especially when it involves kind of the Me Too stuff, you find out that it's not exactly how you were told.
Oh, it's about the
Bills punter.
The Bills punter.
Yeah.
So when you say Me Too, you mean rape.
Yes.
You mean rape? Oh. Nomination, YouTube piss off.